Hello and welcome to the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series here on Grid Vision. We're in for a great show here tonight at the Michigan International Speedway. We cannot wait to get this one kicked off. I'm Austin Edstrom. I'm standing alongside Brian Britt and Austin Darbyshire behind the production booth. We are in for race number 4 this evening of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. We've had 3 different winners so far this year. Will we make it 4 here today? Looking at our track facts for the evening, our weather, pretty mild, 78 degrees, not too crazy track temp, going all the way up to the 117 degree mark. My goodness, I was looking at the wrong thing. That's a hot track temp for a only 78 degree race. It's going to be hot and slick for our competitors out here tonight.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be very, very slick out here on this racetrack. I mean, this is Legacy, Michigan right here. So the earlier scan of this track, and it is known to be a lot more bumpy. So I think these guys definitely have a lot of difficulty in store for them. But then again, Michigan, one of my favorite tracks, a lot of fun, just like a lot like Auto Club, to where it is almost like a hybrid between super speedway action and of course a mile and a half. And of course that means tire wear is going to matter, but also we're going to see some pack racing.
Yeah, with it being the old scan, I'm not 100% certain what we're going to be in for here tonight. It's kind of, Michigan's kind of transformed into a pack racing racetrack, like you mentioned, a little bit of a hybrid super speedway. But with it being the old one, we're gonna have to keep an eye on things with these trucks with their neutered down engines. But we are looking at our point standings right now. Andrew Hale up at the top with 75 points. Jason Taylor in second, not too far behind, only 4 points behind, with Keegan Savilo in third, Brian Lorenzo in fourth, and Jeff No in the top 5. Really good showing there from Jeff No so far this season. James Harris in 6th, Tyler Meeks 7th, Sean Boundy 8th, John Lucido and Heath Snyder, who won our season opener, in 10th. But you can kind of see everybody from 1st to 10th, all within 16 points. Really tight at the top.
Yeah, I want to talk about the second place person in the points right now, Jason Taylor. This guy last season, was kind of a mid-pack driver. This season, he is doing phenomenal. Look at his average. I'm looking at his average start and average finish here on my information. Average start 12th, average finish 4th. This guy has been incredibly consistent. Jason Taylor, I'm very impressed, gotta say.
And he got that win last week at Talladega with a huge push from his teammate coming to the start-finish line. That was Andrew Hale in the 4, as we saw Heath Snyder get absolutely demolished by Tyler Meeks, even though it was Heath kind of throwing a bad block there coming to the line. But coming to the line at Talladega, it's kind of what you expect. Big crash at the finish. Jason Taylor in the 15 came through to win his first race in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Congratulations to him on that last week. And to your point, an average finish of 4th place through the first 3 races of the season is nothing to scoff at, and it's why he's up in that 2nd place position in the points.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, one win doesn't get you to the top of the board, but that he's also backed it up with consistency in other races as well. But even Andrew Hale, though, he's been really consistent, been getting a lot of great finishes. That's why he's at the top of the board. I think that this season is really shaping out to be a knockdown, drag-out battle between a lot of different drivers. And I think tonight is also going to be one more race that we're going to probably see a very close finish.
Yeah, looking at the points, anybody in the top 10 could leave tonight as the points leader. So really tight at the top. Going to take this moment just before qualifying is over and we can get to look at our starting lineup to kind of shout out our title sponsor of Champion Power Equipment. This broadcast is brought to you by Champion Power Equipment. Since 2003, CPE has earned a reputation for designing and producing the market's finest power equipment. With over 4.5 million generators sold in North America, Champion has decades of experience providing dependable and durable power products designed and engineered in the United States for the North American and world markets. Visit us at championpowerequipment.com for more information. Champion Power Equipment, powering your life. Thank you to Champion Power Equipment for sponsoring this series as always. And now we're going to look at the starting grid. James Harris on the pole, Keegan Sabilo on the front row right alongside of him. They've been fast all year long. James Harris looked like he was going to possibly win that Texas race, kind of dominated it in the season opener, was not meant to be. Instead it ended up being Heath Snyder, but Brian Lorenzo in 3rd, Nathan Meyer in 4th, Andrew Hale 5th, George Young rounding out our 3rd row. Jason Taylor, last week's winner, in 7th. Tyler Meeks in 8th. Garth Snyder going to be in 9th. And Brad Thacker's going to round out the top 10.
Brian Toole starting in 11th. Heath Snyder almost won last week. He starts 12th. Jeff No, he's starting 13th. 14th, of course, Brandon Ball. 15th, Amir Boscombe. 16th, E.J. DeBoer. 17th, Ray Kennison. 18th, Larry Fairman. 19th, Robert Wynn, and rounding out this 20-car field is Dan Hellewig. So 20 cars, very even number here tonight, and I'm excited to see exactly how this looks here. I mean, one thing you talking about James Harris, he almost dominated that Texas race. No, he did dominate that Texas race. The guy led almost every lap and then got robbed at the end. I'm gonna be blunt and say it.
I mean, that's fair. I can agree with you. He led the most laps by far. Just got a little unlucky towards the end of that thing. And you said, hey, Snyder almost won last week. That's absolutely correct. But almost win was only good enough for 18th. So somehow he wrecks flying across the start-finish line at Talladega and drops all the way from second place side by side with the leader back to 18th.
That was incredibly bad. I mean, the guy went from, he went all the way to 18th, I do believe it was. Everybody, of course, is sitting on pit road. Looks like everybody's there. I think we're just waiting on the pace car to get rolling here. But James Harris, he's going to be hoping. I think he's going to have his fingers crossed this whole time, probably praying to the good Lord that he stays out front this whole time.
Unfortunately for him, it's Michigan. And I know it's the old Michigan, but these are the new NASCAR trucks. And let's just be honest, at these big racetracks, it's a pack race. And I don't know. I don't know. It's just a crapshoot, really. I got to be honest. It's a tough thing to dominate this style of race. I feel like it's hard to dominate mile and a halves in the next gen, right? It's kind of, they've all kind of devolved into a little bit of a pack race for the first 20 laps, and then it's who saved their tires. I feel like we're going to see a similar thing here in the trucks today. You're going to save tires for the first 15, 20, 25 laps, and then you're finally going to see that the fruits of that labor of saving at the beginning come in handy, but you're going to see them racing like crazy for the first 15.
No, I agree, and I think it's all going to come down to a lot of it as well as clean air. I think dirty air, of course, is going to be actually an advantage probably early in the runs, but later in the runs, dirty air is going to be what you're not going to want. I do want to talk a little bit about the facts of tonight's race course. 60 laps here this evening. Fuel window is about 34 to 36 laps. So this is a one-stop race here. I don't believe we're having any competition cautions. We do have 3 sets of tires down in the pits. And I think those tires are going to be pretty important. A lot of people don't probably think a 2-mile track that tires matter, but I do believe they will here tonight.
That's going to give you so much maneuverability in the middle of these corners because it's not quite a Talladega. It's not quite a Daytona. This is not as banked. They're going to let you move in the middle of these corners and get huge runs off if we have a late caution. So expect people towards the back at a late caution to come down. But right now it's the pace car coming down pit road, going to hand over the lead here to James Harris in the 55. That green flag is flying. Barney the flagman waving it down. James Harris going to bring us to the green flag here at Michigan.
Yeah, side by side already heading into turn 1. James Harris trying to see if he can keep the lead. I'm wondering how big of a run that Keegan Sabilo is going to get down the backstretch here off of 2. Usually the top side at Michigan is incredibly strong, especially out of 1 and 2, but it looks like, Harris not going to be able to get clear. And there comes the run I was just talking about. Keegan Sabilo, massive slingshot out of turn 2.
Yeah, I think what you said is dead on. That outside line is going to be so massively important. Yeah, during the straightaways, you probably want to during the corners, you want to get down to the bottom of the racetrack, second groove, and really utilize the bottom. But that's only if you're single file. If you have to be somewhere side by side, you want to be on the top because you're typically going to get that huge draft down these long straightaways here at Michigan International Speedway, and you get just a massive slingshot coming off the corners using that outside groove. So like you see James Harris right here, being a single file, makes sense for him to duck down to the bottom and then slide back up the racetrack as you normally would at a traditional mile and a half with a car with horsepower. But here at Michigan, whenever you're side by side, you want to be on that outside and not quite use all the racetrack. But here, the 55, not quite looking to the inside of our race leader, just decides to push him at the end of the straightaway.
Yeah, I think that's you can see exactly what Harris is doing. He's trying to push Keegan Sabilo into the corner a little bit faster than he wants to go. And that is a very valid strategy at tracks like this. You can see Sabilo went up the racetrack, and that, of course, opened the door for Harris. We do have some side-by-side battling going on between Nathan Meyer and Brian Lorenzo. Of course, that's for the third-place position. And look at George Young all the way up into the top 5. Usually this guy's another mid-pack runner, but he's running really good here tonight so far.
Yeah, again, Michigan kind of allows for a little bit of differing runners up front. Now, I'll say that James Harris, Keegan Sabilo, traditionally quick. Lorenzo was really quick in the season opener, so not too surprising to see a couple of these guys up here. Andrew Hale leading the points. I mean, he's in the top 5, but to your point, Young in the 48. Not traditionally a top 3 guy, but he's looking up towards the front of the field immediately here at the early going of this. Could just be a really good Michigan driver, and especially on the old Michigan. It just kind of, I feel like the old Michigan, you have a little bit more to work with in terms of being a driver. It's a little bit more skill dependent. But at the end of the day, we're still seeing a massive bump draft down the front straightaway as Lorenzo is all over the back bumper of Sabilo, which kind of takes a little bit of that traditional driver skill out of it because they're just bump drafting all the way down the front stretch at Michigan, of all places.
Yeah, and we've seen this, pushing someone in at tracks like this. It really disrupts the air on the back spoiler, and I think that's exactly what we're seeing there on the back end of Sabilo. You can tell it's kind of making him a little bit uncomfortable when he's going through the center of the corner, as well as we got some three sideways. As I do believe there's the 42 of Bascom, who's able to save it. Now, the 42, this is not the first time we've seen him with some trouble, and I'm wondering if we maybe had some contact there with Amir there, or Amir. I always say his name wrong.
I was going to say, you add that S every single week.
I do.
Through 3 and 4. Through 3 and 4, I mean, it just looked like he had absolutely no air hitting the right rear of that car. I mean, it just came around on him so slow, so lazy-like, and just could never really get it back under him until he got down to the apron. It's a very strange half spin coming through turns 3 and 4. As we're going to catch a replay there of the 42. Oh, he might have gotten a tap from last week's winner. No, he actually didn't. There's still air in between those two. Maybe just took the air off that spoiler a little bit, caused him to get loose, just as you were talking about earlier.
I think that's exactly what happened. I think that, that Taylor got too close to the back end of the 42, and it took the air off the spoiler, sent him sideways. One thing I'm noticing, though, on these straightaways is that James Harris has really been, using a technique that we see at these 2-mile tracks, which is trying to break the draft. He moves down onto the bottom of the track on these straightaways. Look, you'll see he'll probably go down to try to break the draft of Nathan Meyer. He didn't do it that time, but he's been trying to do that. I think he's trying to play, trying to be unpredictable to the 24, because the 24 is trying to hunt down that champion power equipment 55.
I definitely get what he's going for, and honestly, I've done it in the past at Michigan in the next gen, and it kind of bit me in the butt because they're wrecking coming out of turn 4.
Whoa.
Tyler Meeks hard into the outside wall with Thacker, our last week's winner in the 15. Taylor around, no caution as they spin down into the infield. Now the caution comes out as we have another driver. Oh, I think he might have clobbered the inside wall. I couldn't quite tell who that was.
I think that was Tyler Meeks, just careened into the inside wall. Brad Thacker still spinning around in the grass. So, yeah, we had a big deal there. Just as we were talking, it seemed like something went horribly, horribly wrong.
Started with Meeks, I do believe. I don't know if we're in the lap beforehand or...
You see right here, I think a block might have gotten thrown.
Yeah, we're on the wrong lap. It came out of 4, so we're going to have to wait 1 lap as they go around. Switching the replay over right quick, but I do believe it was... I do believe it started with Meeks coming out of turn number 4. I couldn't quite tell if it was Lorenzo in the 99 that he made contact with. Lorenzo's still in the top 6, so I'm not quite sure, but he is to the inside of Lorenzo on this replay, going down into turn 3. Plenty of room there for Meeks. Gets a little loose, taps the apron a little bit, comes up as Lorenzo's coming down. Yeah, Meeks still loose. Holding on to it. Oh, Thacker gets loose in the middle of the corner, comes down, gets the right rear. Meeks comes up and collects last week's winner. Tough break for those 3. I couldn't quite tell if it was one of them spinning down towards the bottom 2. It might have been Snyder.
I think Meeks went down again or something like that. But yeah, I definitely think that both of these drivers were just out of control at the same time. I don't know if it was because of the dirty air, but you can see Thacker coming out of 4 got very loose down to the bottom, and of course Meeks was getting loose as well. Thacker, I don't think, well, he might not have got too much damage. I think he might have hit a secondary time on that wall. But I'm trying to see who was that secondary person that spun down. It could have been Robert Wynn here. And yes, it was. It was Robert Wynn. He got tagged from behind.
Oh, good save, though. Good save.
Wow, he kept that out the wall. That's insane.
If this is the old grass, he doesn't do that. New grass physics coming in handy.
Gotta say, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with what he was able to do there.
Oh, man. No, just kind of, it was definitely a little late on the brakes, but the caution hadn't come out yet. That was a pretty abrupt stop from Wynn at the start-finish line. I get it. I think the caution came out right whenever he was checking on the brakes. I don't know if something happened in front of him either. I'd have to check another replay beforehand, but I might have just missed that there was somebody stacking up in front of him. So if so, I apologize to him, but it did seem like it was a rather abrupt stop in the middle of the straightaway, but all these guys have fast repairs, or at least one fast repair, excuse me. So even if anybody got a little bit of damage, they can come down and kind of recover. But it hurts to use that first fast repair at lap 7 at a super speedway style of track. I hate saying that because Michigan is not traditionally super speedway, but on iRacing it is a super speedway with these kind of cars. So I will be referring to it as that for the rest of the
night. Nathan Meyer right now in the lead. Looks like we have quite a bit of guys that have decided to, make it down, go down pit road. And I think this is probably a good time as any to go down pit road. I mean, these guys got 3 sets of tires down in the banks and now 2 left for a lot of these guys, but it looks like I think the top 7 have elected to stay out. Now, I'm not sure what the fall off was looking like. Didn't really get a chance to look at that, so that's going to be something I'm going to be a big question mark.
I gotta be honest, I feel like I would have pitted just because they've got 3 sets of tires and you only have to make 1 pit stop. So I probably would have used one of those 3 sets behind pit wall under that caution. You still have 2 left for the rest of the race. Now, if we get another caution in 10 laps, everybody that didn't pit here will come down, and then they'll be in the driver's seat with that. But I don't know. I kind of like the idea of, hey, this thing might run green right here. Put on some tires, and if it does, you're going to be way, way quicker than everybody that did not come in. Even though it was only 7 laps, I'm telling you, that tire fall off will end up being massive at some point. Even if they had not started falling off on lap times just yet, that's still 7 laps on the tires. They will hit that fall off point before everybody else that came down pit road.
Well, here we go. Looks like everybody is side by side. We're getting ready to get this thing back underway as Nathan Meyer is going to be starting on the old tires. Now, one thing I think that could be a dangerous thing about this old surface here is that we could see some wheel spin. I think that could be a danger that could possibly happen. It could lead to more accidents. Of course, Heath Snyder, we talked about him being a possible winner last week, but ended up finishing far down the running order. He's now up into 4th place. I'm curious what he is going to be able to do here, as well as Brian Lorenzo. He's been quite quick here so far tonight. I'm really going to be looking at James Harris on the newer tires. Of course, we did have some other drivers that came down as well. Looking at actually some of these pit stop times, Gar Snyder spent 6 seconds in his box. DeBoer spent 6 seconds in his box. Keegan Sabilo about 5.7 seconds. James Harris, he is on new tires, 14.2 seconds in the box. Fairman, 6 seconds in the box. So we do have a lot of different calls here.
Yeah, wide-ranging strategy calls all throughout the field. Going to keep it a little bit interesting. Going to keep the comers and goers alive through the middle portion of this race, as long as we get a little bit of a green flag run. But here we go. Coming to take that green flag, Nathan Meyer, Andrew Hale on the front row, trying to get back to the gas. Looking at Nathan Meyer in that 24 on the bottom. Going to control our restart. Going to get us back to green. Going to easily take the lead before we get to the start-finish. Move Nathan Meyer up to the lead, easily clearing Andrew Hale, who's now in a side-by-side battle with Brian Lorenzo for that 2nd place. I think Lorenzo might be in the preferred groove down in turn 1.
Yeah, 100%. We do have some 3 wide here as well, as we see James Harris gunning through the middle on the 8 of DeBoer and Keegan Sabilo. He's going to try to get a massive run. This is where we're going to see those new tires really play a role, as we do see a battle for the lead. I do believe Nathan Meyer trying to hold off Andrew Hale and Lorenzo.
Yeah, I'm a little shocked that the truck on the inside on restarts is not a little bit faster through 1 and 2. I would think that they would be able to wrap the bottom just a little bit better with the less horsepower in it, or less RPMs in it. But Andrew Hale to the outside of our race leader, Nathan Meyer. They're going to be side by side coming to the line. I believe that time is going to, oh man, Nathan Meyer might have just held on to that by a couple thousandths of a second at the line, but Andrew Hale has his nose out in front going down into turn 1, and he's got that outside groove. Oh, but he drives it up just a little high. Going to be able to cut it back down off the corner, though. I thought he was going to completely miss the corner with how high he drove it into there.
I'm really watching the 55. I got to be honest. I have been watching him drive through the field. He is now banging on the back door of the top 5 as he is getting by Brandon Ball as we speak. He drives by him like he's not moving. Looking at lap times, he's a half a second faster than everyone around him. He is quickly going to run down these guys and probably take the lead. So was tires the call here?
Right now it's looking good. But if that caution comes out in 5 laps, he's going to be hurting because everybody else will come down and take him, and he'll be a sit and duck. So it just all depends on that strategy when the caution flags fly. But right now, James Harris is looking really, really feisty in that 55. Looking now to the inside of Nathan Meyer for 3rd place, as it looks like he's going to push Heath Snyder up to that 2nd spot. No, he's going to duck behind Nathan Meyer on the outside. Going to use that outside preferred groove. Wouldn't be surprised if he made this 3 wide through the middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, he also might just be trying to take it easy, not wanting to push it so far. I mean, he's got such an advantage on tires that he really doesn't have to. As we see Heath Snyder starting to battle with Hale once again here. And it looks like, yeah, Hale's going to try to jump down on that bottom and possibly block that line. Then he jumps back up to the top. I think he's trying to play some games with dirty air. But here comes James Harris with the 3 wide move to the inside in 1 and 2.
Yeah, he's going to use those tires, looking 3 wide to the bottom. There's going to be 3 coming off at turn 2. Thought
Ooh.
James Harris was going to be able to get a good enough run. Oh, Nathan Meyer, I thought was going to make it 4 coming off the corner. Instead, he's just going to give the bumper to the 55, shoot him down into turn 3, and keep him 3 wide all the way through 3 and 4. James Harris dives it in deep, though, into turn 3, and it looks like he's going to easily clear for the race lead before they come off a 4.
What a great job from James Harris. Able to wrap the bottom there all the way to the yellow line as he is going to see if he could possibly take off here. Looking at lap times, last time by 40.5 second lap versus the drivers behind him 40.6. So he is a little over a tenth faster. We'll see how he does in clean air, though. Of course, he has been abusing those tires quite a bit, so it could equalize here as we're on lap 15.
It definitely could equalize because you don't want to kill him in the first 5, 6 laps. That's really the time of the run where you don't want to absolutely destroy them. But they are still 7 laps newer than everybody else behind them. So it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. As long as everybody else is taking care of their stuff and he continues to run his hard, it will equalize eventually. But I think he's going to have enough to hold on to the lead, at least for now. But that draft is so big down the front straightaway that Heath Snyder could at least get side by side, or Andrew Hale at some point coming down the front stretch.
Yeah, it's clear as day that you can see that Harris is not having an easy time holding on to this lead. He's not really pulling away, and that's one of the bad things about these 2-mile tracks. Is it's very difficult to pull away, and eventually those guys behind you are going to catch up to you. And if you do attempt to pull away, and you're really gonna be in danger of everybody catching back up to you when your tires are worn out. So this is something I think Harris really needs to just maintain this gap. Don't try to pull away, because the more you try to pull away, the more you're going to rub that eraser raw.
That's a very good point. If he just keeps it on the pencil, then he will be totally fine in 20 laps. He will start pulling away from these. Actually, it'll probably be 10 or 15 laps, not even 20. And he'll just start pulling away from these guys because everybody else is burning up their stuff, racing each other. And he's just in a Sunday stroll in the lead, honestly. Just not really pushing too hard. A little bit newer tires, so it just keeps him up there. As we look back further in the pack, got some hard racing between a couple of different competitors. The 5 here of Snyder, able to work his way up through the field as well. That's Garth Snyder in the 5, right behind. I believe that's Nathan, or sorry, no, he's actually behind Lorenzo, just a little bit ways behind. I believe that Garth Snyder came down and took 4 tires as well. So he's starting to work through the pack. Oh, got a little loose though, coming out of turn 4. Thought he was going to take out Keegan Sabilo in the 77. Able to hold on to it, able to stay side by side, able to hold on to the 6th place spot.
Snyder actually spent 6 seconds in his box, so I don't think he took tires. I think he might have took gas a little bit, but that could alter the handling of the truck, as he is, of course, battling right now with Keegan Sabilo. Sabilo getting a good run on the inside. Looks like he's going to take over that 6th place position and try to move forward. You can see Sabilo is going to probably try to get to the draft of Brian Lorenzo, and hopefully he'll be able to draft back further. He's going to have to hope that Garth Snyder and the guys behind him don't try to battle him, because I think that's what James Harris's plan is here, to keep the guys behind him battling. And I think that's what everybody's game plan is here, not to battle as much as they can, but if they can help it, they want the guys behind them battling.
Yeah, they started throwing sliders here for that 2nd place position. Finally, now bumping, Heath Snyder is bumping the 4 of Andrew Hale up to our race leader. And while that does great for him on the straightaways, because of that tire disadvantage, man, James Harris is just able to pull it back around in the corners. And if the 4 and the 3 are not hooked up down the straightaway, the 55 is just breaking the draft and not letting them get any type of run coming out of the corners. So if the 3 is not all over the back bumper of Andrew Hale right here, they just really don't make up much ground. And I think James Harris is just going to be able to easily keep the lead here until we either get a pit cycle or a caution comes out.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's wanting right now. He's playing games. He's just kind of like, not really trying his hardest. He's just dumping dirty air on the 4 and the 3. As here comes Nathan Meyer getting a pretty good run up to the 3 of Heath Snyder. Brian Lorenzo, of course, still keeping touch. And it looks like Keegan Sabilo is starting to track down Brian Lorenzo. So I think he does have a pretty good whiff of the 99's draft, as well as I saw Boscom has been having some issues when it comes to technical. I think his technical issues are starting to clear up, though. He's in a heated battle at the moment with Brandon Ball.
Yeah, just a little bit further back here, 7th and 8th, side by side into turn 3. Ball, washes up the racetrack on entry just a little bit. Was trying to hit the bottom, just washed up, almost got to the side of the 42. That's going to allow the 48 to get to the outside and push the 42, but also last week's winner, Taylor, in the 15, going all the way down to the apron of the racetrack in that Ford in Michigan, gotta say. So, home track here for the 15 crew in that Ford. Oh, man, but just swashes up the racetrack as well, going into the corner while they're 3 wide, able to hold on to it as well. But Young in the 48, able to pick off both of them.
I'm surprised Taylor's taking so many chances here, considering he's already used his faster pair. If we were to take a rewind, which I don't expect us to do. We saw that 15 did not have a front bumper earlier in this race, and now he does. So I would assume he did use that fast repair. I wouldn't be taking quite. Oh, big problems for the 42. Looks like Boscombe just almost spun out. Another save for the 42.
Yeah, Bascom is not liking turn 4 right now. He's had a couple issues through that corner, able to hold on to it both times, but sketchy moments here for the driver of the 42, right in front of George Young, running in what was it, 7th place position at the time. Just got a little high with a little bit too much wheel put in it. Looked like a little bit of a lazy spin, but really, really good save coming back across. It's so easy to overcorrect in that situation. He could have murdered the entire field.
Oh, yeah, he could have easily came. I mean, once it gripped again, he could have easily shot right back up into the field, but he let off of it. He was patient. Got to give a lot of kudos to that driver for that, really just taking it easy and not really endangering other drivers. As we see 3 wide, I think that's Brandon Ball on the bottom there. We see the 56 of Brad Thacker getting back into the battle. He's on the edge of jumping into the top 10 here. Of course, Thacker, I believe, was involved in a crash earlier.
Yep. He's another one that's used a fast repair. So he's going to play it a little safe, but that's a little tight coming out of turn 4 with Wynn in the 16, who we saw make that great save on the front straightaway through the grass. So Wynn probably still has that fast repair. Well, I don't know. He got popped pretty good in the back end. He might have used that fast repair to repair that.
Did.
Yeah, so both these guys actually have used their fast repair, but they're running pretty hard here for this 11th place spot right now, pretty early.
Yeah, and problems. There goes Thacker. Right into the inside wall. No caution flag.
There was another driver through the grass, too. I can't quite tell.
Another driver definitely had an issue. I think he might have shot down pit road. I'm not sure who that other driver was. I think that could have been Jeff No here. I think we see Jeff No is very loose. And I think he gets tagged, by Boscombe. Boscombe finishes him off. He goes shooting down pit road.
Dang.
I think he had to have got a pin entry.
No, he didn't cross the yellow. He didn't cross the yellow cone. He's fine. He crossed the yellow line. That would be the line in real life.
He probably got a speeding penalty though, or something. You sure?
No, he didn't. He never entered pit road.
Okay, I mean.
Yeah. He's fine.
Wow. We got a battle heating up for the lead though. James Harris now has been caught by Andrew Hale, and it looks like Hale's got more resources on those tires left.
Yeah, I'm surprised Andrew Hale's able to run down the 55 of Harris here. I mean, I'm honestly pretty shocked at the 25 lap mark. 15 laps after I believe we went green after that caution. James Harris starting to struggle a little bit, even on the newer tires. I mean, that's kind of shocking from the driver of the 55, but it could just be the 4 and the 3 working together so well. They haven't really been passing each other anymore towards the front. I think they're working together a little bit more just to at least keep themselves in the fight, but Harris is pushing tight out of turn 4 and keeping Andrew Hale in this.
Yeah, and I wonder if it could be that he overextended it in the beginning. I think that you even mentioned it yourself, that the first 5 laps are so important when it comes to the entire run. And if he just pushed a little too hard and overheated those tires, that rubber just a little bit, that could very much impact his whole run. And that could be exactly what we're seing right now as Andrew Hale gets to the inside.
And he did take tires, right? We're not mistaken.
Yeah, he did. No, he spent 14 seconds in the box. He definitely did.
Wow.
You don't. And first of all, you don't drive from like 9th or 10th up to the lead without having taken tires.
You're definitely right. I'm shocked to see him start struggling at this point. I didn't think that he would be having such a tough time on the exit of the corner, but you saw in turn 2 last time, he got a little squirrely coming out. Andrew Hale able to get to the inside, not quite able to make the pass. They are still on the older tires, so it's going to be hard to complete the pass, but I'm shocked that they're just able to keep it this close. But this time, Andrew Hale following right into tire tracks all the way around the outside of the racetrack, trying to get the good run off so he can maybe make a move down into 3. Doesn't quite have that run that I think that he expected he was going to get, though, but he might just be able to get there.
Yeah, and I think we also might even see some opportunities for Heath Snyder and Brian Lorenzo. Last time by, they were incredibly fast. They actually were faster than Hale and Harris by a full 10th or so, 10th and a half. So I would not be surprised that we would see one of those drivers try to pounce on something as well, because if Hale can't do it, those guys are going to try to pick up the reins and try to get it done themselves.
Yeah, they're doing a good job just keeping it close so far. Lorenzo now looking to the outside of Heath Snyder. Finally, a little bit of a fighting for that top 3 position. Andrew Hale not quite able to get it done here on the 55 quite yet. Heath Snyder's going to slide across the nose of Lorenzo. They're going to stay in single file line 1 through 4, but actually Lorenzo dips down to the inside. And it looks, I can't even complete that thought. Looks to the inside of Heath Snyder and actually side by side for second with Andrew Hale.
Yeah, look at this big sin. Sideways goes Brian Lorenzo here out of turn number 4. I think we've got to that point to where the bottom line is not really as viable as an option here. I think tire wear has gotten so significant that the top line is really the only choice.
Yeah, I think the top line, I mean, we kind of talked about it coming in. It was going to be the best line throughout most of the race. But as you mentioned, as the tires wear out, it just kind of becomes more and more prevalent to be on the outside as we see Andrew Hale get a little bit too far outside, getting into the outside wall, losing a couple positions. Now back to P5 after he's been running in second. Tough break here in the early going. Well, I say early going, they're about halfway done with this thing. Before we get down into the green flag pit stops, we are going to take our first commercial break of the evening right as Heath Snyder takes the lead away here from James Harris.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series presented by Grid Vision. We're in for a hell of a race so far. We've had an amazing one. Nathan Meyer running down our race leader of James Harris. James Harris on the newer tires, but Nathan Meyer starting to kind of figure out the older tires a little bit right before our green flag pit cycle is about to start. Third on back is kind of falling off just a little bit as they started racing a little bit harder for that third place position, but Nathan Meyer's looking pretty good here, stalking our race leader.
Yeah, tire wear has been very, very significant. During our break, as you probably, the ladies and gentlemen probably could see, there were a lot of almost potential wrecks. We saw, I do believe, Brian Lorenzo get sideways and almost lose it. Of course, James Harris has been barely hanging on to this lead by the skin of his teeth. It just seems like at this point with the tire wear, it is incredibly difficult to pass here. As we can see, the fall off, of course, is 41.7 second laps right now. That's over a second of fall off. As I do believe we're taking a replay at something here. It looks like we had an issue with Amir Bascombe, where it looks like I think he's just having technical difficulties. We confused that with an accident, but it looks like we are having some battles. So for second place is Hale, who had hit the wall, has rebounded. I thought there would be more damage on the right side of that vehicle, but it looks like he is recovered nicely.
Yeah, he's looking all right so far. That new damage model kind of saving him, not putting too much of a dent on that right side. Doesn't look too bad. As we get a little bit of a look at it, just trying to find any damage we possibly could. Don't really see anything. Not really too messed up there, as he might be side by side with Heath Snyder coming off of turn number 2. Looks like they're still going to try, or Nathan Meyer, I thought that he was going to try to kind of make a move, but he seems to be pretty content with riding in the tire tracks of James Harris here on lap 35.
Yeah, I think a lot of these guys understand that the race is probably going to be won on pit road. I think that if you're able to kind of just get out in front of a guy off of pit road, that's going to be your best bet. So I'm curious. Oh, we've got pit strategy already playing out. Andrew Hale and Keegan Sabilo have decided to pit here. I was wondering why they were running the bottom, and that's exactly why, because they were preparing to go down pit road. Very awesome call from the 4 and the 77. I think they have decided, hey, let's try to leapfrog these guys and get out of front of them, as we see Brian Tools 22 coming down as well.
Yeah, to go to help him out big time. I'm looking at Tyler Meeks, who just came out in the middle of that race for the lead. Came out of pit road, that is, and he easily passes 4 cars through a corner and a half. So it just shows how much the tires mean. So coming down 1 lap earlier over your competitors whenever you're in that main pack could be massive, but we're going to watch the next 4 come down. All of our front 4 leaders coming. Could one of them speed coming down? Oh, really tight there for the 24. Late on the brakes for Nathan Meyer. It looks like he's going to be all right, though, coming down to pit road. Pete Schneider looks to his inside. This is our top 4 all on pit road.
Yeah, got to give him a lot of credit. Very clean pit entries here for everybody so far, especially with these guys being on such old tires. I'm surprised that they were able to perform that well.
Oh, Meyer completely missed his pit box. He's having to back up.
No.
Too far left. It still might be too far left. Oh, man.
He was one of the front. This is going to be and hey, one of my good friends, Big Al, always says you race for show, you pit for dough. Myers was one of the top guys tonight. I mean, he was top 5 all race long for the most part. And now, unfortunately, he's just probably lost a good bit of time.
Yeah, and it hurts to lose that draft. That's kind of the big thing. You got to really, really abuse those tires to get back into the draft of the lead guys. Heath Schneider also didn't have a good pit stop. But here we see the couple of guys that pitted a little bit early. Oh, man, James Harris might get a penalty coming out of pit road, too. I got to say, mighty close here for James Harris coming off of pit lane to crossing that line before the blue cone, sorry. But look at this. Tyler Meeks was not really in that top 5, or at least it was not solidified, I don't believe, in the top 5 with that main group, that main pack. He comes out in the middle of them on new tires. 2 laps on the freshies. He's able to come out in front of everybody and kind of inherit the race lead. Not technically the race lead yet, because he's got a couple people that are still stayed out. But he will end up being the race leader alongside Andrew Hale after No, Thacker, and Fairman all come down.
Yeah, that depends on if he can hold off Hale. I mean, 2 tires doesn't sound like a lot, but you got to remember this is a 2-mile racetrack. So 2 tires that's 4-mile newer tires. I mean, so and you can see Hale drives right by him. So even though, yeah, Meeks definitely made a really interesting call, leapfrogging some drivers, I just don't think it's going to play out in the long game, because I think that in order for him to make all those passes to get up to the front like he did earlier, I think he burned a little bit of that tire off. We'll see if he can maintain. You can see here comes already James Harris to the inside.
Yeah, and Meeks had actually pitted a good handful of laps before these guys, so it makes a lot of sense that it's going to be really, really difficult for him to be able to hold on to that race lead, and obviously not able to. It already been passed by, Andrew Hale, and already been passed by James Harris. Just wasn't meant to be here for Tyler Meeks so far, but he did get some track position for himself under that green flag cycle due to the strategy. So if he does get a caution at some point, he might be able to put on some 4 freshies and give himself an opportunity to win this thing here towards the end.
Hale, I got to give a credit to. He did a tremendous job on pit road. Looking like he actually was able to get out quite a significant margin in front of Keegan Sabilo. I think about over a second. Hale and Sabilo came in pit road right there on top of each other and exited not on top of each other. So what a great job for the 4. I mean, he has been nailing the pit stops as well as his performance on the racetrack itself, too.
Yeah, he had a really good green flag pit cycle, really important, coming down at the right time, coming down with the right speed, and coming out with the right speed, not overextending that pit exit. I really thought James Harris overextended that pit exit. I don't know if they've... Tyler Meeks just about wrecked that thing coming out of turn 4. Still sideways coming out of the corner, by the way. Goodness gracious, the 7. That was almost a tough moment, but I'm shocked. I feel like maybe they've loosened the scrutiny a little bit, because I've seen a lot of people here recently just kind of teetering on the edge of getting a black flag over that line, whether it be league races or officials that I've been spectating. And I'm a little miffed, because I feel like a lot of guys should be getting penalties that haven't been, that I got penalties 4 years ago.
No, I totally agree. I've seen that as well, too. I've seen people game the pit road exits to where they'll try to jump up there on the track and kind of come up and down. As we see, I believe you said, side by side, James Harris making a move here for what is going to be the net lead. Can he get this pass completed? He's not clear of Hale. this could allow possibly Keegan Sabilo to catch up here and make up some of this distance.
Oh, it's going to at least help. Andrew Hale just side drafted the ever-living hell out of the 55 coming out of turn number 4. Drug him all the way back, and I could just see Keegan Sabilo getting bigger and bigger and bigger all the way down the front straightaway, able to close in that gap to our front 2 this time. Hale puts the front bumper to the back here of the 55, trying to pull that gap back out just a little bit. Sabilo still trying to hold on. It looks like those guys behind are working together pretty well. Keegan Sabilo, Brian Lorenzo, Heath Snyder, they all know the only way for them to get back into this thing is if they really work together, and Nathan Meyer's trying everything he can to catch up to that back 3.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really blame these guys. I mean, they're doing the smart thing, working together. I mean, a lot of times, you know, you see it in officials, you see it in some leagues. The guys just don't seem to know how to work together. But those guys seem like they are all of one mind. They're like, hey, we got to work together here. If we want to have a way to win this race, we've got to stick in line. And it seems like they are definitely playing nice. It definitely seems like, though, Harris and Hale are not playing nice. These guys are racing each other incredibly hard. You can almost see the determination from the 55. I mean, if I could see his face right now, I guarantee you he'd look determined and focused. He does not want this to be like Texas, I'll tell you that.
Oh, man, you're putting the big jinx on them, saying exactly that. I would be worried if I was the 55 listening in at this point. Just even mentioning Texas is just it's a little tough because this is about the point. I think it was with about 10 laps to go that he got taken out of that one. So I'd be a little bit worried here if I was James Harris coming down to the end of this thing, especially because that group of 3, which might turn into a group of 4 in not too long, is catching them. I mean, they are rapidly approaching here. James Harris and Andrew Hale only half a second back now going down to 3.
Yeah, I want to look at some details here. And looking at James Harris' average start, he started 7th in average start. He still finished average 6th, so that's not terrible. But I mean, I know a lot of races he started up on the pole and didn't finish there. So I think he's really going to be desperate. I hope he doesn't take this whole Brian's jinxing me, but I'm just trying to call this race.
Hey, I broadcast the league on Wednesdays, and I intentionally try to jinx one of the guys in there. So,
oh, no.
I might be just projecting onto you a little bit with the intentional jinx, but Sabilo looking to the inside here of Behrman. I don't believe he is pitted yet. A couple of our lead lap guys have started to catch up to him here towards the end of our second stint now after the green flag pit stops. Keegan Sabilo, they're starting to drop off our front 2 just a little bit, actually. They cut it to half a second. Now it looks like they're struggling a little bit, but their one saving grace is the front 2 have separated. And while that might sound bad, with them being separated, they're not able to bump draft down the straightaway. And if Keegan Sabilo can get Brian Lorenzo to just hook up to that back bumper, especially down the front stretch, they'll be able to gain a lot of time here on Andrew Hale and James Harris.
I got to say, I'm shocked the top 2, Jeff Noe and Brad Thacker, are still able to maintain that they're still out here on the racetrack. I mean, they're, of course, hitting some pretty slow laps, but fuel window-wise, they're about 37 laps into this run. And from what I was told, here comes Brad Thacker, so that makes sense. I'm like, wow, when is their fuel tank going to end? Because, I mean, when I was told, it was 34 to 36 laps on a tank of gas, so Jeff Noe's got to be doing a great job of saving right now.
I like the call, though. If the caution comes out, Noe is going to come down pit road as the leader, and everybody's coming down to take 4 freshies. So Noe would find himself in the race lead, but I do see him queuing up his mic currently in the sim, so I do think he's going to be coming down pit road this time unless that caution comes out and saves him. The one going to come down here. And to be fair, he's got the lead, so if he comes down, puts on 4 fresh tires, he's not going to go a lap down. And for at least 2 or 3 laps, he's still kind of in that pay window, I would say, where if the caution comes out, he'll stay out, and he'll inherit the race lead back as we see James Harris flying down the front straightaway as Jeff Noe is getting ready to sit stationary in his pit box. It's going to give the lead back to James Harris.
Yeah, I don't know how this would work out for him. I mean, this is it is curious. If a caution had came out, that would have gave him the gift of a lifetime right there for sure. But Harris now is in the lead. Of course, he's still being chased by the ever-determined Andrew Hale. Of course, as well, you see Sabilo. He's about 4/10 back off of Hale, half a second. He's being chased by Heath Snyder. Those guys still working pretty well together. Looks like Snyder, though, did take the position away, I do believe, from Meyer. And here comes Snyder. I think he's actually going to try to see if he can look underneath Sabilo. Looks like they're maybe not wanting to work together quite as much as I thought they were going to. I think now they're like, hey, it's getting to that point. We got to race.
Yeah, these guys are struggling a little bit. I'm shocked that they have not been able to catch our front two. It looked like it was going to be a an easy conclusion here that they were going to run them down and at least put up a fight. But, man, they got right within draft range, about 0.5 of a second back from Hale, and it's just stalled. I mean, they haven't had anything for them.
Well, I know Harris has a little bit of an advantage when it comes to tires. He's got about 1 lap newer tires than Hale and Sabilo. Now, Meyer and Snyder, I do believe, are about on the same strategy as Harris. So I think that might have something to do with it as well. And, of course, you can see Harris is actually catching a little bit of the draft of someone who's right in front of him. I'm trying to figure out who that is in that yellow machine. I do believe that might be Larry Fairman, or that is actually Dan Hillewig. So that might be helping out Harris a little bit here, but it looks like Hillewig's going to go up to the top, and he's going to lose a lap here.
Oh, yeah, little sideways coming out of turn 2. James Harris still, though, looking really good at the front of the racetrack, kind of looking for a little bit of border state redemption, I would say, right? Texas, the other border. He got super, super unlucky now on the Canadian border here in Michigan, trying to kind of fix the wrongs that we saw down in the South. Looking pretty good, though, up here in Old Michigan International Speedway. It's so crazy seeing the old one. I don't think I've watched a race on the old one in a long, long time, so thoroughly enjoying this one so far. But got to point out, Nathan Meyer, he was way behind that group of 3 that were trying to catch our race leaders. He's passed all of them, and he's looking like he's catching them.
I think that driver we were just talking about is up in the wall in 1 and 2. Luckily, no one got caught up with him, though. It looks like everything's fine. I think we're going to stay green here. But yeah, no, Meyer's looking incredibly fast. I mean, 41.496 last time by. He's a 10th faster than the drivers ahead of him right now.
He's flying.
He's very fast.
I'm shocked. I thought he was out of it, man.
Season. Yeah, I mean, I definitely would have seen that. Especially, keep in mind, he missed his pit box.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. How in the world has he been the one out of the 3 that is challenging these 2? I thought that he was out under that green flag pit sequence. Yeah. He didn't have the draft from the guys in front of him, so you would think he would burn up his stuff to even get back to that second group. But now it looks like he's going to be side by side for second place, looking to the inside of Andrew Hale.
I mean, this is a run that I don't think Hale could even defend. I mean, he he shot out of a cannon. I think Hale got a little bit tight out of turn 2. And, yeah, look at that run from Meyer. I think Sabila is going to try to take advantage of it. As you see, Meyer slides up in front of Andrew Hale, and he might have a chance at the 55 here. Now, Nathan Meyer's always been a sleeper agent. I mean, we've seen this driver in seasons past where he will just show up and win races.
Oh, he got hit!
Up a tag from Andrew Hale. He saves it as Nathan Meyer still trying to collect that machine.
Oh.
He's not out of it yet. I do not count out that 24. He's still got the draft here.
That sucks, man. If I'm Nathan Meyer, I'm so frustrated, man. I mean, he passed everybody clean, got all the way through the pack. Now all that work is for nothing. It looked like, I got to be honest, it looked like Nathan Meyer was going to win this race. I mean, he was far and away the fastest here in this second stint. And he got ran over through 1 and 2. I don't know if we can catch a replay of that. At least that's what it looked like on first viewing. It really looked like he got ran over.
And it might have just been a little bit of some aggravation on Andrew Hale's part. I mean, you got to think, I mean, I'd say that was a slide job from Meyer. As we take a look back at this, you see, of course, Meyer slides right up in front of the 4. And just right there, just a little tap. That might have been just air in between the 2 drivers.
Nah, I don't know. I mean, it's not like anything egregious, but Hale ran into the back of him, right? And I got nothing against Andrew Hale. I just got to point it out. Andrew Hale extremely fast, leading the points here. Obviously, unbelievably talented race car driver, but at the end of the day, that's his fault. He ran into the back of Nathan Meyer going into the corner. Nathan didn't do anything crazy. He just clipped him coming down. Nathan took the position, and unfortunately, there's a little bit of bumper contact. But, hey, that's the nature of super speedway racing, hybrid super speedway racing. So I'm not going to, harp on it too much, but I just hate it for Meyer because he looked so unbelievably quick, like he was going to run away with this thing.
And I think he's still got a good chance at a good finish here. I mean, he's still in 4th. He's a 10th, a little bit under a 10th, or over a 10th behind Andrew Hale. I don't think this is over. I mean, does Meyer feel some kind of way about this? If he does, he's getting ready to have a chance to do something about it, because there's the 4 right there as he's now side by side for 3rd.
Well, I thought he just about gets in the wall, maybe taps it with the right rear. Everybody is loose. Everybody in the top 5 is skating through 3 and 4 at this point. Meyer trying to throw a block on Lorenzo, not quite able to do it. Lorenzo's going to get to the outside, but up front, Keegan Sabilo's looking to the inside of James Harris. James Harris is struggling right now.
And you know, one driver that has always been good at saving tire, I mean, he is something you can count on that every single time, is Keegan Sabilo. This guy, he might look slow, but most of the time that's according to plan. We've heard him say it time and time again that, oh, no, I was doing that on purpose. And I think that's what he's doing now, that whole time we were like, oh, he's just at a disadvantage because he's got 1 lap older tires. No, this guy was, I think he was holding his cards, and now he's playing them with 5 or 4 laps to go.
Well, and he's got the opportunity to the inside of James Harris at the start-finish line, taking 4 laps to go this time by. But then being side-by-side brings Andrew Hale right back into this thing. That side draft down the front straightaway was massive. Pulled the 4 right back up. And Harris still trying to hold that right rear quarter panel through 1 and 2. That's going to give Andrew Hale one more opportunity, and it might even pull Nathan Meyer back into this thing.
Yeah, it could. I'm wondering if Nathan Meyer's damage is going to affect him. But here comes Hale. He gets to the back of Sabilo. He's going to give him a little bit of a push to try to get him going through 3 and 4. Can he actually get clear? I don't think Sabilo is going to be able to do it. It just seems like that bottom line on these longer runs does not want to cooperate. So he's going to need help. Or if I was in Sabilo's shoes, if Hale wasn't there, I'd be trying my best to try to get to the high side of the 55. But I just don't think that's going to be possible with the 4.
Way easier said than done. So difficult to get to somebody's right rear quarter panel, separate themselves from the wall. But Sabilo through 1 and 2 just about once again, but the 55 still holding on to that right rear quarter panel. Sabilo kind of breaking the side draft a little bit, brings Andrew Hale back into it once again, prevents Hale from going 3 wide. I'd be looking for Hale to make it 3 wide on the outside. Maybe Harris gets a little bit too preoccupied with Sabilo on the inside and opens up the door. Oh, speaking of the door, open up, Sabilo might be clear. It's unbelievably close between the 55 and the 77. But no, the 55 stays down on the right rear quarter panel. And Nathan Meyer's back and Andrew Hale are back in the fray. 2 laps to go. We've got 4 trucks under a blanket.
Yeah, and if Sabilo can do that on the last lap, he wins this race. I mean, he doesn't have to clear the 55 on that last lap. As long as he manages to stay out front, and he might be able to do it as we're coming to the white flag side by side for the lead is James Harris, of course, who started on the pole, has led the most laps here tonight. Can he lead the last one? Do we see this race end in tragedy? Do we see a last lap accident like Talladega last week? As Sabilo does get clear, the white flag is getting ready to fly here at Michigan.
Oh, Sabilo was finally able to drive it in deep enough. Now Nathan Meyer all over the back bumper of the 55 with a huge shot down the front straightaway. They're going to get back to the outside of the 77 before they get down to turn 1. What does Nathan Meyer do? Can he help the 55 or can he find himself to the front? He's going to be side-by-side with Andrew Hale coming off of turn 2, though. Is there still side-by-side for the lead? No, Keegan Sabilo going to slide above. Actually, goes back down to the bottom of the racetrack. He's committed to that inside groove. The 77, the 55, side-by-side, all the way down the back straightaway. Andrew Hale tries to look to the inside of the 77 and make it 3 wide. He's not quite going to be able to get there as James Harris gets a little loose, almost into Nathan Meyer, but it's going to be Keegan Sabilo coming off of turn number 4. With a 2 laps to go pass for the win, Keegan Sabilo is going to win at Michigan International Speedway.
I mean, who had the 77? I don't think anybody had the 77. As we see guys wrecking across the start-finish line. I think that's Nathan Meyer and Andrew Hale wrecking for 3rd coming across the start-finish line. Nathan Meyer, of course, able to get that position over him. As we look back at this finish, what a finish here at Michigan International Speedway. Look at that. Actually, Hale got loose right there. And I think he might have got a little bit, maybe, wonder how they wrecked coming across. Like, oh, it looks like Meyer maybe got loose coming across the line.
That was anger from getting taken out in turn 1 from 10 laps ago, I guarantee you.
Could have been, but look at that. I mean, who had the 77? I don't think either of us were thinking, hey, yeah, the 77 is the favorite. I would not have said that in the slightest. I was actually writing him off because of 1 lap older tires.
He just did a better job taking care of it. Sometimes being in front like James Harris was can be a little bit difficult. You got to feel for James Harris, though. Both races on the opposite borders, he has dominated and not walked away with the trophy. So got to feel for the driver of the 55. But got to feel good for the driver of the 77, Keegan Sabilo, coming through. This is his first race win of the year, correct? He didn't win the second race that I missed, I don't think. So congrats to Keegan Sabilo winning his first race of the season. 4th different winner in 4 races. Looking down at our race results, Keegan Sabilo leads the last 2 laps. I believe they were the only 2 he led all day. James Harris led about 52 laps. Unfortunately, could not bring it home. as the winner comes home in second. Nathan Meyer looked like he was probably going to be the favorite at the very, very end. Just got a little tap through turn one, going to bring it home in our final step of the podium. Andrew Hale fourth, Heath Snyder fifth, Brian Lorenzo in sixth, George Young seventh, Brandon Ball eighth. Jason Taylor, last week's winner, brings home another respectable ninth place finish after getting involved in an early accident, and Brian Toole brings it home in 10th.
Tyler Meeks finishes 11th, Jeff Nowen 12th, Gar Snyder 13th, EJ Deborah 14th, Brian Thacker 15th, Ray Kennison in 16th, Larry Fairman 17th, Dan Hillowig 18th, Robert Wynn 19th, and Amir Boscombe rounds out this 20-car field.
All right, we're going to throw it to one more commercial break, and then we are going to interview our top three. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. We just watched an absolutely amazing finish here at the Michigan International Speedway, the old configuration here in the NASCAR trucks. I'm Austin Edstrom alongside Brian Britt and Austin Derbyshire. We're going to jump right into our interviews here. We're going to interview our third place finisher, Nathan Meyer, if we can drag him down into the Discord. Nathan Meyer, do you have a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir.
Man, I counted you out after you slid through your pit box, to be honest with you. I thought you'd lost the draft and weren't going to be able to get it back there on that last run. And lo and behold, you've got the draft. You passed everybody all the way up to James Harris, who was leading the race at the time. And as soon as you cleared Andrew Hale going down to turn one, you got a little bit of a bumper. Can you just walk us through your comeback and then, what happened there going down to turn one?
Yeah, I never really like to lead these races at the beginning just because you're the one setting the pace. And then, I crawled through my box, had to back up, then I was too close to the wall, and I was like, nah, shoot, it's all over, man. And then used the draft, caught some people, and then, I was just saving up. I passed everybody, and then, sometimes you just give room to everyone that you race around, and sometimes they just don't care where you are, so they just run you over. But even with that, I came back and tried to get the lead back there at the end, but couldn't come back all the way, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was almost more impressive that you slid the heck out of the right rear tire, or both rear tires, through turns 1 and 2 and saved it, and then still were able to come back and just about put up a fight for the win here tonight. So big credit to you, because that was a heck of a show you're putting on in the 24. Let's see. That was just the main thing that sticks out for me for your race. It's almost hard for me to ask you another question.
Yeah, I really feel like I would have won had I not been hitting the rear there. I was definitely faster than those guys.
How many more laps do you think you needed, even after that spin, to really be able to at least get side by side with him?
Well, I was side by side with James for second there, and I would have cleared him going on the next straightaway. Then it was just me passing Keegan. So honestly, just one or two more laps could have done it.
Well, I mean, it's a shame you didn't get it done because it looked like you should have. So I apologize to you, but thank you for putting on the good show. I mean, it was it was super fun to watch up here. Do you have any shout outs here to give us, though, at the end for your P3 interview?
Yeah, thanks for you guys for doing this, Champion, putting it on, Green Mountain Grills, and special tribute to my dad. Had him on the car today. His favorite drink was caramel. He actually passed away 30 days ago, so that's why I missed a couple races. But have him on the truck and was glad to almost bring it home.
Well, I apologize that you could not bring him home because it looked like you should have. I hope that you keep that on there because that's a beautiful looking truck and
yes,
a great tribute.
Yes, the rest of the year. Yeah.
I love to hear that, and I hope you can put it in victory lane.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Alrighty, that was our P3 finisher of Nathan Meyer. Next up, we're going to sit down. It's going to be Brian Britt with our second place finisher. The second time James Harris has dominated a race, unfortunately, is going to have to be interviewed for second with Brian Britt.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, I do want to say before I get started with the interview, definitely my condolences to Nathan Meyer with his father passing. That has got to be such a tremendous burden on his heart right now. So my thoughts and prayers with him for sure. James Harris, man, second place. You started on the pole. You led, the majority of the race. But at least this time you finished in the top 3. How you feeling?
Bittersweet, maybe, I guess. I don't know, this is the second time this season we've led the most laps but didn't win. But, it's at least a better finish than I had at Texas, that's for sure.
100%. I mean, it has definitely been a little bit of a season of some bad luck. But then again, you've shown tremendous speed. What did you need to do there at the end to beat Keegan?
Man, I think, believe it or not, I was kind of pulling for Nathan because of everything with his dad. I really want him to get that win. But Nathan pulled up behind me, I believe, on that last lap, and he was trying to help me. But then we come out of 4. Keegan just made it stick, man. He did that good slide job on that last lap, and I got to give him props for that. He made it stick. He didn't get loose on him. He controlled it like a pro, and that's what got him that win. And it was so much fun, though.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a ton of fun. I mean, I'll tell you what, something about this season seems to be different than ones in the past. I mean, it has looked like you guys have just been having so much more fun. I mean, we've had great finish after great finish. Michigan here, of course, Dover's coming up next week. How do you feel about that track?
I told you guys a few weeks ago, Texas is by far my best track, and I think I showed it that race. Dover is my second best track, so I'm very excited for next week. And in regards to the racing, the racing has been fantastic. I think our experiment with having an iRacing cutoff and having more guys in an iRacing group, our iRating group closer together is producing some fantastic results. So I'm loving it.
100%. I definitely concur. Well, who can we give a shout out to, James, after your second place finish tonight?
First and foremost, I have to thank my wife. She's been putting up with this for a while, and she supports me, and without her, I won't be able to do any of this stuff. And Kevin Kirscher with Blackstone Management, he's the one that got all of us together initially almost 4 years ago. Champion Power Equipment, Green Mountain Grills, sponsors for a long time. I love these guys. It's been a long, good relationship, and I hope we can continue it for many more years in the future.
All right, James. Well, thanks for your time, and we'll see you next week at Dover.
All right, buddy. Appreciate it.
All right, that was, of course, James Harris. Started on the pole, finished second tonight. Now I'll pass it back over to Austin Edstrom, who's going to be with our winner.
Keegan Sabilo, driver of the 77, first race of the year, just a little bit short this time, though. We're able to make the moves necessary at the end of the race to bring it home on the top step of the podium. Did you think you had a chance coming to the last couple laps, man? Because it just seemed like you and Nathan Meyer and a couple other guys kind of came out of nowhere after maybe saving a little bit during that second stint.
Yeah, it was just the wear in the rears it was so hard when you didn't have grip. So I kind of just wanted, my goal was to stay around within a second of Hal and Harris up there that whole run sort of, and being able to do that, it then kind of capitalized. And I didn't think I had anything there, especially when I side by side with James. I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to be as easy as I thought it was, but I had to trust it and stick it in there like I did at Texas, because I wasn't going to try and lose another one at the line.
I was honestly very surprised that coming on the back straightaway on the last lap, you got clear and you went down to the bottom. Why were you so committed to the bottom whenever it seemed so hard to pass on the inside all night, especially on old tires?
Yeah, I figured, knowing how James' racing style was, I knew, and anyone would do that in the situation he was in. But they'd try and push it a little bit harder, and the outside, you drive it in. I seen him getting loose a couple times, and I knew if I could just kind of hit that bottom how I've been doing comfortably, I can try and get the same run. He could side drop me, but it wouldn't be enough. But for me, I felt like there was no sense in going right up to the top, because I wasn't used to the top. I haven't really run the top in the whole race at all. I stick to the middle the whole run sort of. So I figured it would just be too risky to go up there and try it, and one mistake and it would all been over.
Well, congratulations on your race win here tonight, Keegan. Going to help you in the points big time. Thanks for putting on a good show. Are there any shout-outs you can give here at the end?
Yeah, appreciate it. First and foremost, thank you to you guys at Grid Vision putting on great show tonight, or a great broadcast for us. This has been an awesome few weeks now, a month now, racing in CP. Just the racing's been incredible. A lot of close finishes and good battles throughout the whole race. I can't think of one time when one person was just so far out ahead this season. Besides James, a little bit at Texas. So it's been a really, really good, fun season. Thank you to Champion Power Equipment and James and everything that he does and everything that everyone does to put this together. Huge shout out to my team, Speedway Racing Esports. I had to bore out here, had a little bit of a rough night tonight, but stuck it out. And the rest of the guys, Admin Box, United States Racing League, Johnson iRacing Team, Jazbowski Designs, Dylan Cattell for putting this paint scheme together, After Hours Restorations, and appreciate everyone who tuned in to watch, and hopefully we'll see them all next week at Dover, getting ready to watch another fantastic show.
Well, thank you, Keegan, for putting on a fantastic show here tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next weekend to see if you can make it back-to-back in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Thank you for coming up and talking to us.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Well, Brian, that was a heck of a show we saw here at Michigan, the old scan of Michigan. Long time since I've gotten to see it. Will probably be a long time until we get to see it again, so I'm glad we got to see a heck of a finish here at the end of it. Any final thoughts out of my great co-commentator?
I mean, it was just a fantastic show here. I appreciate it, man. You got me warm my heart saying that. But you're, of course, a fantastic lead commentator here as well. But, man, what a great race. What a great, I think, series of races we've had this season. I mean, Champion has been nothing but exciting every single race. I don't think we've had a bad race here this season.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty accurate statement. I mean, I had to miss the second race, so I didn't get to watch that one. But everyone that I've seen, and you said it was really, really tight in that second race of the season, but everyone I've seen has been really, really tough finishes where everybody from first to third, I think, has been within 0.2 of a second every time. So it's been absolutely insane here to start the season in the first 4 races of the year. Looking forward to keeping the momentum going. But for Brian Britt and for Austin Derbyshire, I've been Austin Edstrom. We would like to thank you for watching here tonight in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. We expect to see you back here next week on Monday night.